Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Podcast for Newbies. I'm so happy you're here with me today, ready to learn some more useful English. Today, we're going to talk about something super important and also really fun, weekend activities and free time. Now, why is this topic so important? Well, think about it. We all have weekends, right? And we all have some free time, even if it's just a little bit. Being able to talk about what you do in your free time is a fantastic way to connect with people, make new friends, and share your interests. Imagine you meet someone new, and they ask, "So, what do you like to do on the weekends?" Wouldn't it be great to have lots of interesting things to say? This lesson will help you do just that. It will give you the vocabulary and the confidence to talk about your hobbies, your interests, and how you like to relax. I remember when I first started learning a new language, I felt so frustrated because I could only talk about basic things like the weather or what I ate for breakfast. It was hard to have real conversations and connect with people on a deeper level. But once I learned how to talk about my hobbies and interests, everything changed. I could finally share my personality and build real friendships. That's what I want for you too. So, in today's lesson, we're going to cover a lot of ground. First, we'll learn some basic vocabulary related to weekend activities. This includes things like sports, hobbies, going out, and staying in. Then, we'll practice using these words in simple sentences. We'll also look at some common mistakes that English learners make when talking about free time, and I'll give you some tips on how to avoid them. After that, we'll dive a little deeper and learn how to ask and answer questions about weekend plans. We'll practice mini dialogues so you can feel comfortable having real conversations. And finally, we'll look at some more advanced ways to talk about your free time, including idioms and expressions that native English speakers use. I'm really excited to get started. Learning about weekend activities and free time can really open up your world and help you connect with others. It's all about sharing what you love and learning about what others love. This isn't just about learning words. It's about opening doors to new friendships and experiences. Think about all the interesting conversations you'll be able to have. Think about all the new people you might meet. It's going to be great. Let's begin with our first major concept. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What are some common weekend activities? Well, there are tons of possibilities, but let's focus on some of the most popular ones. We'll start with sports and exercise. One very common activity is playing sports. You could play soccer, basketball, tennis, or any other sport you enjoy. For example, you might say, "I play soccer on Saturday mornings." Notice the simple present tense there, I play. Another common activity is going to the gym. Many people like to work out and stay in shape on the weekends. You could say, "I go to the gym on Sunday afternoons." Again, simple present, I go. Quote, a third common activity is running. Running is a great way to get exercise and enjoy the outdoors. You could say, "I run in the park on Saturday mornings." Running is often a solitary activity, but it can be incredibly refreshing. Let me share some more examples related to sports and exercise. Consider swimming. A person might say, "I go swimming at the community pool on Saturday." See, simple and clear. Or, "I swim laps to stay in shape." Another option is yoga. Many people find yoga relaxing and good for their flexibility. Someone could say, "I practice yoga at home on Sunday mornings." Or even, "I take a yoga class at the studio." Now, let's move on to hobbies. Hobbies are activities that you enjoy doing in your free time for fun. They could be anything from reading to painting to playing a musical instrument. One popular hobby is reading. Many people like to curl up with a good book on the weekends. You could say, "I read novels on Saturday evenings." Notice the word novels. This helps clarify the type of books you enjoy. Another common hobby is watching movies. Watching a movie is a great way to relax and escape from reality. You could say, "I watch movies on Sunday nights." Simple and straightforward. A third hobby is cooking. Cooking can be a fun and creative way to spend your free time. You could say, I cook new recipes on Saturday afternoons. Cooking is a useful skill and enjoyable hobby. Let's give a few more examples about hobbies. Consider gardening. Some people love to grow flowers or vegetables. They might say, I work in my garden on Saturday mornings. Or, I enjoy planting new flowers in the spring. Another hobby could be photography. Taking pictures is a fantastic way to capture memories. Someone could say, I go out to take photographs on the weekends. Or perhaps, I like to photograph landscapes. Let's talk about going out now. Going out includes activities like going to restaurants, going to the movies, or going to concerts. These activities usually involve spending time with other people. One common activity is going to a restaurant. Eating out is a great way to try new foods and socialize with friends and family. You could say, I go to a restaurant with my family on Saturday nights. That shows a specific event on a specific day. Another activity is going to the movies. Watching a movie on the big screen is a fun way to spend an evening. You could say, I go to the movies with my friends on Friday nights. It shows you like to go with people. A third activity is going to concerts. Seeing your favorite band or artist live is an exciting experience. You could say, I go to concerts whenever my favorite bands are in town. Shows you follow your favorite bands. Here are a few more to think about, related to going out. Think about going dancing. Many people enjoy dancing at clubs or parties. You could say, I go dancing with my friends on Saturday. Or, I like to dance to electronic music. Another possibility is going to a museum. Museums are great places to learn about art and history. Someone could say, I visit the art museum on Sunday afternoons. Or perhaps, I enjoy learning about ancient civilizations. Finally, let's talk about staying in. Staying in includes activities like watching TV, playing video games, or reading. These activities usually take place at home. One common activity is watching TV. Watching TV is a relaxing way to unwind after a long week. You could say, I watch TV on Saturday mornings. Another common activity is playing video games. Playing video games can be a fun and engaging way to spend your free time. You could say, I play video games on Sunday afternoons. A third activity is reading. Reading a book at home is a great way to escape into another world. You could say, I read in my armchair on Sunday evenings. Now let's talk about a few more for staying in. Think about listening to music. Many people find it relaxing to. Someone could say, I listen to music while I cook dinner. Or, I enjoy listening to classical music on Sunday mornings. Another example is doing puzzles. Jigsaw puzzles or crossword puzzles can be a great way to keep your mind active. A person could say, I do jigsaw puzzles to relax, or I like to do crossword puzzles in the newspaper. Now, let's get some practice. Remember to repeat after me. Repeat after me. 1. I play soccer on Saturday mornings. 2. I go to the gym on Sunday afternoons. 3. I run in the park on Saturday mornings. 4. I go swimming at the community pool on Saturday. 5. I practice yoga at home on Sunday mornings. 6. I work in my garden on Saturday mornings. 7. I go out to take photographs on the weekends. 8. I watch novels on Saturday evenings. 9. I watch movies on Sunday nights. 10. I cook new recipes on Saturday afternoons. 11. I go dancing with my friends on Saturday. 12. I visit the art museum on Sunday afternoons. 13. I watch TV on Saturday mornings. 14. I play video games on Sunday afternoons. 15. I read in my armchair on Sunday evenings. Okay. That was a good start. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes that English learners make when talking about free time. One common mistake is using the wrong preposition. For example, students might say, I play soccer at Saturday mornings. The correct preposition is on, so you should say, I play soccer on Saturday mornings. Remember, we usually use on with days of the week. Another common mistake is using the wrong tense. For example, students might say, I am going to the gym yesterday. The correct tense is the simple past, so you should say, I went to the gym yesterday. A third mistake is not using enough detail. For example, a student might say, I like to read. That's okay, but it's not very interesting. Try to add more detail. You could say, I like to read fantasy novels, or I like to read before bed. Here are a few more common pitfalls. Students sometimes forget to use articles correctly. For instance, they might say, I went to movie. Remember to use the before movie when you are referring to a specific cinema. Another mistake is using the wrong form of a verb. For example, a student might say, I enjoy to cook. The correct form is, I enjoy cooking. Now, let's talk about some tips for remembering all of this. One tip is to create flashcards. Write the vocabulary words on one side of the card and the definition on the other side. Review the flashcards regularly to help you memorize the words. Another tip is to use the words in sentences. The more you use the words, the easier they will be to remember. Try to write a few sentences using each new word. A third tip is to find a language partner. Practice speaking with your language partner about your weekend activities. This will help you improve your fluency and confidence. And here are a couple more helpful tips. Try to associate new words with images. When you learn a new word, try to picture it in your mind. This can make it easier to remember. Another useful technique is to listen to English podcasts or watch English movies. Pay attention to how native speakers use the vocabulary related to weekend activities. Now, let's practice what we just learned. Repeat after me and really focus on your pronunciation. 1. On Saturdays, I usually sleep in late. 2. Then I have a big breakfast with my family. 3. After breakfast, I might go for a walk in the park. 4. In the afternoon, I often meet up with friends. 5. We usually go to a cafe or a bar. 6. In the evening, I like to relax at home. 7. Sometimes I watch a movie or read a book. 8. On Sundays, I usually go to church. 9. After church, I often visit my grandparents. 10. In the afternoon, I might do some gardening. 11. In the evening, I prepare for the week ahead. 12. I check my schedule and make a to-do list. 13. I also like to listen to music while I cook dinner. 14. I enjoy spending time with my family on the weekends. 15. I try to make the most of my free time. 16. I avoid doing work on the weekends if I can. 17. I find that relaxing and recharging is important. 18. I always look forward to the weekend. 19. It's a time to relax, have fun, and spend time with loved ones. 20. What do you like to do on the weekends? Excellent work. You're doing great. Now let's move on to the second section, where we'll dive a little deeper. Now, let's build on what we've already learned and introduce some related vocabulary and grammar. We'll focus on how to ask and answer questions about weekend plans. This is crucial for having real conversations. First, let's learn some useful question phrases. One common question is, what are you doing this weekend? This is a general question that asks about your overall plans. Another question is, do you have any plans for the weekend? This is a yes/no question that asks if you have anything specific scheduled. A third question is, what do you usually do on the weekends? This asks about your typical weekend routine. Let me give you a few more. You might ask, are you going anywhere this weekend? This asks if the person is traveling. Or what are your hobbies? This is a good way to start a conversation about free time activities. What do you do in your free time? Is another useful question. Now, let's look at how to answer these questions. If someone asks, what are you doing this weekend? You could say, I'm going to a concert on Saturday night. Notice the use of the future tense, I'm going. If someone asks, do you have any plans for the weekend? You could say, yes, I'm visiting my family on Sunday. Again, notice the use of the future tense. If someone asks, what do you usually do on the weekends? You could say, I usually relax at home and watch movies. This is a general statement about your typical routine. Here are a few more example responses. If someone asks if you are going anywhere this weekend, you could say, no, I'm staying home to relax. Or, if someone asks what your hobbies are, you could say, I enjoy playing guitar and hiking. Now, let's practice some mini dialogues. These are short conversations that will help you practice asking and answering questions about weekend plans. Dialogue 1. Person A. Hi, what are you doing this weekend? Person B. I'm going to a barbecue on Saturday. What about you? Person A. I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll go hiking. Dialogue 2. Person A. Do you have any plans for the weekend? Person B. Yes, I'm visiting my parents on Sunday. How about you? Person A. I think I'll just relax at home. Quote Dialogue 3. Person A. What do you usually do on the weekends? Person B. I usually go to the gym and then meet up with friends. What about you? Person A. I usually sleep in late and then catch up on chores. Here are a few more mini dialogues. Dialogue 4. Person A. Are you going anywhere this weekend? Person B. Yes, I'm going to the beach with my family. What about you? Person A. That sounds great. I wish I could join you. Dialogue 5. Person A. What are your hobbies? Person B. I love to paint and play the piano. What about you? Person A. That's cool. I enjoy reading and gardening. Let's move on and talk about how native English speakers really use this language. Native English speakers often use contractions and informal language when talking about weekend plans. For example, instead of saying, I am going to, they might say, I'm gonna. Instead of saying, I don't know, they might say, I dunno. These contractions make the language sound more natural and conversational. Here are a few more examples. Instead of saying, what are you going to do? A native speaker might say, what you gonna do? Or, instead of saying, I am not sure, they might say, not sure yet. Pay attention to the way native speakers talk in movies and TV shows to learn more about informal language. Now, let's talk about some cultural notes and context. In many English-speaking countries, the weekend is considered a time for relaxation and recreation. People often use the weekend to spend time with family and friends, pursue hobbies, or travel. It's important to respect people's weekend plans and not assume that they are available for work or other obligations. Here are some additional cultural insights. In the United States, for example, it's common to have barbecues or picnics on the weekends. In the United Kingdom, many people go to pubs to socialize. In Australia, people often go to the beach or have outdoor adventures. Now let's practice these new phrases. Let's practice these new phrases with some conversational scenarios. 1A. What are you up to this weekend? B. I'm thinking of checking out that new cafe downtown. Wanna come? 2. A. Got any big plans for Saturday? B. Actually, yeah. I'm helping my friend move. 3A. What do you usually get up to on Sundays? B. Oh, I mostly just chill and watch sports. 4A. Are you doing anything exciting this weekend? B. I'm finally going to try that escape room everyone's been talking about. 5A. What does your ideal weekend look like? B. Sleeping in, brunch with friends, and a long walk in nature. 6A. Are you free to hang out on Saturday? B. Let me check my schedule. Yeah, I think so. What did you have in mind? 7A. What's your favorite way to spend a Sunday afternoon? B. Reading a good book with a cup of tea. 8A. Do you have any traditions for the weekend? B. We always have pizza night on Fridays. 9A. What's the best thing about weekends for you? B. Having time to pursue my hobbies without feeling rushed. 10A. How do you like to unwind after a long week? B. By taking a long bath and listening to calming music. 11A. What's your go-to weekend activity? B. Probably going for a bike ride along the river. 12A. Do you prefer staying in or going out on the weekends? B. It depends on my mood, but usually I prefer staying in. 13A. What's the most relaxing thing you can do on a weekend? B. Spending time in my garden. 14A. How do you like to recharge your batteries on the weekend? B. By disconnecting from technology and spending time in nature. 15A. What's one weekend activity you've always wanted to try? B. Taking a pottery class. 16A. What are you planning to do with your downtime this weekend? B. I think I'll finally get around to organizing my closet. 17A. What kind of weekend would make you feel completely refreshed? B. A weekend at a spa, getting pampered. 18A. How do you make the most of your weekends? B. By prioritizing activities that I enjoy and that help me relax. 19A. What's your favorite weekend getaway? B. A cozy cabin in the mountains. 20A. How do you usually plan your weekends? B. I usually make a list of things I want to do and then try to fit them in. You are doing great. Let's move forward to the third section. Okay, so now we're going to look at some more advanced applications. We'll combine concepts from sections 1 and 2. First, let's talk about using compound sentences. A compound sentence is a sentence that combines two or more simple sentences using a conjunction like and, but, or. For example, instead of saying, I go to the gym on Saturday mornings, I also go swimming on Sunday afternoons, you could say, I go to the gym on Saturday mornings, and I go swimming on Sunday afternoons. This makes your sentences sound more sophisticated. Here's another example. Instead of saying, I love to read, I also enjoy cooking, you could say, I love to read, but I also enjoy cooking. This shows a contrast between two different activities. Let's look at more examples. Instead of saying, I like to dance, I also like to sing, you could combine them into, I like to dance, and I also like to sing. Or, instead of saying, I was tired, I went to bed early, you could say, I was tired, so I went to bed early. Now, let's talk about using idioms and expressions. Idioms and expressions are phrases that have a different meaning than the literal meaning of the words. Using idioms and expressions can make your English sound more natural and fluent. One common idiom is to chill out. This means to relax and unwind. For example, you could say, I like to chill out at home on the weekends. Another common idiom is to hang out. This means to spend time with friends. For example, you could say, I like to hang out with my friends on Saturday nights. A third idiom is to let your hair down. This means to relax and have fun. For example, you could say, I like to let my hair down on the weekends. Here are a few more idioms to know. The phrase, to recharge your batteries, means to rest and regain energy. You might say, I need to recharge my batteries this weekend. Another idiom is to paint the town red, which means to go out and have a wild time. A person might say, they decided to paint the town red on Saturday night. Now, let's talk about formal versus informal usage. Some vocabulary and expressions are more appropriate for formal situations, while others are better suited for informal situations. For example, the word leisure is more formal than the word free time. You might use the word leisure in a business presentation, but you would probably use the word free time in a conversation with a friend. Similarly, the expression to engage in recreational activities is more formal than the expression to have fun. You might use the former expression in a written report, but you would probably use the latter expression in a casual conversation. Here are some more examples of formal versus informal usage. Instead of saying, I plan to, in a formal setting, you might say, I intend to. Or, instead of saying, I'm going to, in a formal setting, you might say, I am inclined to. Let's review everything we learned today. Okay, my friends, let's do a quick review of everything we've learned in this lesson. We covered a lot of ground, so let's recap all the key points. First, we talked about basic vocabulary related to weekend activities. We learned words like sports, hobbies, going out, and staying in. We also learned specific examples of each activity such as playing soccer, reading novels, going to restaurants, and watching TV. Remember, knowing these words is just the first step. You also need to know how to use them in sentences. Next, we talked about how to ask and answer questions about weekend plans. We learned useful question phrases like, "What are you doing this weekend?" and "Do you have any plans for the weekend?" We also learned how to answer these questions using the future tense and other grammatical structures. Asking and answering questions is crucial for having real conversations. Practice these phrases as much as you can. Then, we talked about some common mistakes that English learners make when talking about free time. We learned about mistakes like using the wrong preposition, using the wrong tense, and not using enough detail. We also discussed some tips for avoiding these mistakes, such as creating flashcards and finding a language partner. Avoiding these mistakes will make your English sound more natural and fluent. Pay attention to the details. After that, we talked about how native English speakers really use this language. We learned about contractions, informal language, and cultural context. We also learned some idioms and expressions that native speakers use when talking about weekend plans. Learning these nuances will help you understand and communicate with native speakers more effectively. Finally, we talked about some more advanced applications, such as using compound sentences and distinguishing between formal and informal usage. These skills will help you take your English to the next level. Let's have a few final practice exercises. 1. Tell me about your favorite weekend activity. 2. What are you planning to do this weekend? 3. Do you have any hobbies? 4. What do you usually do in your free time? 5. Are you going anywhere interesting soon? 6. What's your ideal weekend? 7. How do you like to relax after a long week? 8. What's one thing you've always wanted to try? 9. How do you make the most of your weekends? 10. What's your favorite place to go on the weekends? You have come such a long way and should feel so proud of the progress you are making. You are getting closer to fluency. Congratulations on completing this lesson. You've learned a lot about weekend activities and free time. You now have the vocabulary and the grammar skills to talk about your hobbies, your interests, and your plans for the weekend. This is a huge step forward in your English journey. Now for your homework, I want you to do a few things. First, I want you to write a short paragraph about your typical weekend. Describe what you usually do, who you spend time with, and how you like to relax. Use the vocabulary and grammar that we learned in this lesson. Second, I want you to find a language partner and practice having a conversation about weekend plans. Ask each other questions like, "What are you doing this weekend?" and "What do you usually do on the weekends?" Try to use idioms and expressions that we learned in this lesson. Third, I want you to watch an English movie or TV show and pay attention to how the characters talk about their free time. Notice the vocabulary they use, the grammar they use, and the idioms and expressions they use. This will help you improve your listening comprehension and your overall fluency. Next time, we'll be focusing on talking about your favorite foods. It's going to be a fun and delicious lesson. We'll learn how to describe different dishes, how to express your preferences, and how to order food in a restaurant. So keep practicing, keep learning, and keep having fun with English. Remember, language learning is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the process, celebrate your successes, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are how we learn. If you found this lesson helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to my podcast. Your support helps me create more content like this. Keep practicing, my friends. See you next time.